2, 1. Hey, well, this week live. What's up, everybody? I'm Anthony, the DJ. Hey, we haven't been on for a while because I've been busting my butt cycling from New Jersey to Canada. Magnus, California. Me, New Jersey. Magnus, how you doing, bud?
I'm good. Yeah, it's been even we didn't talk this weekend. It's been busy.
Yeah.
It's been busy. Yeah, no, like school is back, full tilt. So no, it's good.
Kicking
No
butt,
complaints.
taking names. Kicking butt, taking names. So yeah,
always trying it. Always trying to.
No, man. Yeah, and I said to myself, Magnus would be proud of me. I bicycled from New Jersey to Canada. So, it's funny because technically we didn't bicycle from New Jersey. We bicycled on the border of New Jersey in a county called Rockland County. So, but it's funny because when they were advertising this, they're like, "Oh, we're going to bike from New York to Canada," and I told everybody, well, that doesn't sound too impressive because where in New York are we biking from? Because if we're bicycling from the border of Canada and New York, that's only like 5 feet. So if you say New Jersey, it's a little bit more accurate, actually.
Yeah.
And gives people a better idea of the massive effort that we all did. And we did this to raise money for women in South Africa to help them rise out of poverty through helping them start their own businesses. It's a organization called Zamele through my church. So it was a great thing to do, so we didn't just do it to do it.
How many people were you? How many riders?
Yeah, so we had, I believe, with me. So see, hold on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think 8 riders altogether.
Yeah.
And then we had 2 support vehicles. So it was 8 guys riding, and all different ages, all different ethnicities. It was really cool. And then our support was also the 2 women, Janet and Jess. And so, and I actually also helped out in the support, although I didn't do the bulk of the support stuff. The Janet and Jessica did, and they were great. And I can't say enough, like without the 2 support vehicles, we just wouldn't be able to do it. You have to have the support, like anything else in life, right?
Yeah.
I don't care how badass you think you are. You're a commando, you're this or that. Without the support, without the air support, you ain't shit, dude. So, like the 2 women and that were there to really kind of help us out were so just, without them, this doesn't happen. So big shout out to you, Jess and Janet. So anyway, so that's that. And I went into this, I don't know if you saw, but I the reason why I was part of the support staff is that unfortunately, I think I told you, right? I got into a really bad
I know.
Yeah, really gnarly leg injury. And I thought, not to go off down this rabbit hole, but like you, I've been an athlete my whole life, and I've been inside ERs left and right all the time for different injuries due to sports, whatever. And this one, man, I tell you, I thought I blew my leg up, bro. I don't know what the hell. I went to the ER, x-rays, went to orthopedic surgeon to take a look at it. And thank God I didn't have any serious injury, but bro, it felt like a serious injury. I mean,
yeah,
the pain sometimes was so bad, and I've had other pain before. Like I've had some really bad injuries before, and this one, like the pain was so bad at certain times, I wanted to throw up. Like it was like literally like wanted to throw up. And I was like, oh shit, I don't think I can. I don't know. Can I do this race? And I was so bummed out because I trained, since January. I've been training for 6 months almost. And now it's like I'm going to just fucking. So I said to myself, you know what? Even if I can just maybe be part of the support staff, that I don't want to not even show up. I mean, I could walk, but not to get into the intricacies of the injury, but it was my right quadricep. So anyways, you know the story. But anyway, so.
But it's the same thing. You commit to something. You don't want to, like, you want to see through it, that it gets done, right? You and I are pretty similar like that.
Right. Now, here's the thing, right? This is for enjoyment. This is to raise money for a good cause. So, like, okay, I'm not getting paid to do this. None of us are. And plus, I got to go to work after this is done.
Yeah.
I just got to be very cognizant of this. So I said, you know what? Even if I just hand out waters and do help with logistics, I'll go. It'll suck because I trained my ass off for this. And so anyways, it was touch and go up until like a couple days prior, and my leg was good enough.
Excuse me.
God bless. Woo.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit, dude. Get some tissue. So, but yeah, so my leg healed up enough where I could cycle and do this, which I was very happy about. But I still had to be, gingerly aware of my leg because, again, I had to go to work after this thing. So I didn't want to be too much, I don't want to be a hero. You know what I mean? I wasn't trying to whatever. Anyways.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. Like commuting back into work on a bicycle every day. Like if you're doing like 5 miles, 10 miles, whatever, it's a big difference on actually road biking for several days straight for a lot of miles too. So
we went up mountain ranges.
Yeah, it builds up. Yeah. How was the weather and temperature?
Well, that's the other thing. So, and again, big shout out to the couple, husband and wife that really, Dennis and Janet, they organized everything and they just did an amazing job. And it was, I can't thank them enough. And it was really, really a great experience. You're hitting on a nerve because they were forecasting rain. So I was like, okay, well, if rain is one thing. If it's sprinkles or drizzle, all right, I'll ride. You know what I'm saying? Even though, by the way, we had to sign waivers, okay, a month prior to doing this race. So that should just give you an idea of, there was a level of danger. I'm not, so you don't sign waivers for riding your bicycle in the park. You sign waivers because there's an anticipation of real potential of something bad happening. And sure enough, we came close a few times and some guys did crash. And by the grace of God, the universe, whatever, people didn't get hurt. But yeah, so when you mentioned rain, that hit a sore note with me because I was like, hey, guys, do we have a plan if it really rains, thunderstorm rains? I'm not talking about drizzle now. And it was like, hey, if you don't want to ride in the rain, you don't have to. And that's the plan. And so I was like, okay, well, I guess we're all have to make our own decisions then, right? But for me, I was like, bro, this thing's already serious enough. We're not bicycling in a park. If it's really bad rain, I'm not cycling. I'm not.
Why take the risk? Like you said, you're not getting rich from doing it.
And there's no money at the end of this race. It's just we're doing it for fun. We're doing it to raise money. We can still raise money and not put ourselves in. I mean, how much more dangerous do we have to put ourselves in? Now I'm going to cycle in a storm? No, I'm not. So I had that conversation and, hey, everyone's got to do what they think is right. I would imagine some guys would cycle in a storm. You do you, dude. But anyway, so the weather held up. It was perfect. And it was forecasting for rain. So I was really kind of pissed and bummed. I'm sure all the other guys were too, because nobody wants to cycle in rain or nobody wants to not cycle. So every single day was magnificent and beautiful. Blue sky, blue sky, blue sky. Weather was good. It wasn't there was one day in the beginning it was hot. It was in the 90s. But other than that, really just the further north we went, of course, it got cooler and cooler, which was great for riding. So to answer your question, the weather was perfect. And, the guys that rode the year prior, they rode from New Jersey to Boston. They rained every single day. So everybody was kind of like, oh, shit, here we go again. Forecasted rain, but it never rained. So anyway, so the weather was good. I was the oldest rider. So that to give you an idea. Everybody else was in their either late 30s, 40s. I was 50. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, damn, I'm the old man. So, but yeah, man. So, I mean, just to touch on some points and if I jump in whenever you want, but I think people don't realize maybe if they do, they don't, I don't know. But the average person listening to this might think oh yeah, we just hopped on our bicycles with our little baskets and we rode, from New Jersey to Canada. Dude, I trained for this shit, seriously trained, I got down to, I walk around. Well, I've been as heavy as 200 pounds in my life. I got down to 160. I mean, I was becoming gaunt from all the cycling and training. And so my thing was you have to train, no doubt. You're not walking out of your house and just doing this shit because, bro, I don't know, you might have seen some photos or videos, but there was legit mountains, not little. We went up 4,500 feet, ascensions, and down to valleys, swamps, legit forests. And before I forget, I literally got lost in a forest, not some wooded area, with no cell phone reception. My map went down. My SOS, if I had a problem, went went gone, and nobody was around for like an hour. And like, I don't know about anybody watching this, but like, when was the last time any of us were lost? Like, when you get lost, you have your GPS, or maybe in the 1980s you got lost, but you were able to ask the gas station person, "Hey, where is it?" Like, bro, I was gone, and I broke away, or my Peloton, the group, and I broke away because everyone cycles at different speeds, and I'm even though I'm in very good shape, I'm a casual. Like, my cadence is not. I'm not looking to be, winning the Tour de France. So I cycle at a very leisure pace because I want to, and then I'm nursing this leg injury. So, anyways, I was by myself most of the time. I'm not crying. I knew what I was getting myself into. That was my choice. Anyways, so I was by myself in this forest, and I'm like, holy shit. Like, I don't know where I'm going. Like, I guess I should follow this road. I don't know. Like, when do I stop? When do I go left or right? So, like, I don't think I've ever been actually lost in my life where it's like, I don't even have a place to ask anybody because there's nobody around. Like, I'm in a forest and the canopy was engulfing me. So like, there was no reception on my cell phone. Then I'm thinking, holy shit, I can't even use SOS feature on my phone if shit went down. So in a way, it was very cleansing and very freeing. I'm like, wow, how many times in our lives are we detached, like off the grid?
Yeah.
And this was one of them, maybe the only time for me. So it was really, really cool and a little bit nerve-wracking in a way. Anyways, I got linked up with the satellite again, whatever, and it worked out. Obviously, I'm here. So, but yeah, you got to stay in shape. And then also, there was a lot of things. It really didn't matter because we were all in good shape. But like, I didn't realize, oh shit, I got to carry my bike upstairs, downstairs, carry my bike through mud, carry my bike through gravel. Like, there was a lot of bike carrying going on.
Yeah.
So I think people wouldn't realize that either. Neither did I. I didn't know, like, oh, okay, bike carrying, And aside, we went through like these cave dwellings at Magnus. It went from 95 degrees to like 50 degrees in a second. I was like, literally.
But that's a huge difference too, because your body gets used to a specific temperature, and especially when it gets cold,
bro.
You can freeze up, like your muscles tense up, and like the stress,
bro. And what's funny? You could not see it, but you can feel the Arctic air blasting out of these caves, like hitting us. It was so cool. And then once we passed that, it went back to 95 degrees.
Yeah.
So it was like a really weird, so shit like that. And then, so you got to be prepared for that. What I guess we weren't prepared for was going into really kind of shady parts of cities that really bad. And, there were some interactions with some of the people there. Thank God it didn't get violent or anything like that, but very unsettling. Let's just put it that way. And again, I guess that's why we're signing waivers. But it's just like, yeah, if you're going to do something like this, like, you definitely have to have your head checked. but
but also, like, you need, like you said, you need to have the like a crew, and also that you're a group.
Well, to your point, so the Peloton, the group, most of the group stay together, but not all of the group, because again, at certain times people just cycle at different speeds.
Yeah.
So there were moments, most of the time I was by myself, and there were other times that other riders were by themselves, which is not good, because for various reasons, right? Let's say you fall and get hurt, or let's just say you get into a street fight, because that shit could have happened. You're on your own for most of us, and so in a way, it was taking myself into deep waters that I didn't really anticipate. You learn a lot about yourself, and
stress,
right? Because you can't, like, we could call for backup, like you could get on the horn and whatever, but by the time backup comes, like, it's a wrap, son. So whatever it may be, like, you hurt yourself. So going in, I carried my own medical kit. I carried my own, other stuff that would help me, because I knew, like, I'm a casual, like, pace the way I go. So, it was very, you learn a lot about yourself. And I think, Magnus, in this day and age where we're all connected at all times, you're never, ever alone. Like, it was kind of refreshing to be like, oh shit, let me see what I'm made out of now, because I got no choice. I'm in this forest, or I'm in this shady part of a city. I'm by myself. Like, you're going to learn about yourself. And so in a way, it was kind of reminder of like, hey, I'm alive. Because we get so caught up in our desk job, 9 to 5, and it was kind of exhilarating. I was like, oh shit, I'm alive. Anyways,
so I have a couple of questions.
Yeah, but
So regarding like recovery, we're looking at food and sleep and things like that. How did that pan out?
yeah, so that was all right. You know, again, I trained hard, almost 6 months, January to August. I trained. Even when I don't train, I walk around in very good shape, anyways. So yeah, the recovery, you know, like was fine for me. You know, I'm not going to say that I didn't feel a little sore, but it wasn't something like, oh my god, I can't walk. I wasn't like that. Also, I always eat right, anyways. So you know, I'm not eat. I don't drink alcohol. I don't vape. I don't live on fried foods and chips and. So nutritionally too, I always sleep well. So going into it, other than my leg, I was in excellent shape for this. And yeah, so the recovery at night, you know, was good. I got a decent night rest, not as good as obviously as your home, because every night we're in a different city. I
Yeah.
almost feel like a rock star. I'm like, dude, what city are we in, dude? I don't know. So, but yeah, the sleep wasn't the best, but it was good enough. And you know, I had a roommate. So my roommate, you know, great guy. But you know, you got a roommate. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not used to having a roommate. So, but yeah, the sleep was good. Food was not the best food because you're eating on the road,
Yeah.
but you know, yeah, I mean, like you have to consume a lot of calories. I mean, uh, I'm not a huge eater, anyways, but I probably consumed well over 3,000 calories per day because you know you're cycling so much.
Have
You're
you
walking.
have you seen like the pro cyclists what they eat?
Oh, they're probably eating everything, dude.
It's ridiculous. So like if everybody that's seen Elf, like Buddy the Elf, what he
Right,
eats,
right,
that's basically what they eat. Like they eat
right,
pasta
right.
and syrup and
Correct.
cereal
And
and
you need
just
to do that.
mix everything together
Right.
because they need so much, like you said, so many calories when they're
Yeah.
doing like the Tour de France or things
Yeah,
like that.
and you need instant energy now. So that's
Yeah.
the only time you really want to eat breads and sweet drinks and you know, yeah. So I mean, there were guys, Magnus, that I was with that I think they consumed in a day probably 6,000 calories. I mean,
Yeah.
I was watching some of these guys. And I'm like, holy shit, bro! Like, I mean, just pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah,
man.
it's like I don't under I people don't really understand the amount of food you have to eat. Like, and we're not talking about complete junk here now. Like then it's easy to kind of like, oh, I ate 6,000 calories, but like trying to get like 6,000 calories from fairly like nutritious and dense food, it's hard. A
Bro,
lot of chewing and
100%. You also,
digesting.
yeah, we have to stay hydrated, so you have to drink
Yeah.
even when you're not thirsty. You know, and I also ran out of food and water on one of the days. I miscalculated because again, I wasn't riding with the Peloton, and that was also another thing. I was like, oh my god, I've never run out. Anybody hearing this, watching me now, like, when was the last time you ran out of food and water? Like, never.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, you know, it's 90 degrees. I'm fucking overheating. And I just came off this fucking huge bridge that was like, I don't even know, a couple 100 feet high, whatever. And I was just like, oh shit, like I have no more food, no more water. I'm like, I got to call in the air support. So thank God, you know, the vehicles, we had an app. I don't know if you ever heard of this app called Life 360, but it knows where you are to the millimeter anywhere.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, anywhere on Earth, as long as you're not in the forest like I was, and you know they lose.
Yeah, no connection.
Right. Other than that, they can find out how if you're walking, if you're running, if you're cycling, how hard you hit your brakes. They know. So it's really kind of cool. It was a lifesaver. So yeah, I linked up with the limousine, and you know the support vehicles were so instrumental, not only for me. But for all of us, you know, to call in when the shit got real, and like I was like, oh damn, I don't have food, I don't have water. I just didn't think of that. So I was like, oh, you know, and because most of the places, there's not a 7-Eleven right next to you. There's
No.
not a Starbucks right down the block. You're looking at, it could be 30 miles before you see anything, some of these places.
Yep.
So anyway, so yeah. Again, like reminders of how like life, you know, we take for granted living in America where everything is within inches of you. And even though we were in
Or you
America,
just jump into your car, or you just like take your phone and call and have someone deliver something to you.
right. And this reminded me, you know, it was a reminder, even though we're in America, we put ourselves in the situation, you know, willfully, and it really made me humbled. It made me
Yeah.
understand fragile I am, how fragile we all are. And it was very invigorating and very inspiring. And that's the other thing, like going to Canada and raising money for this charity. That's great. But also, I always say, you know what? This whole thing was about the journey, not the destination. So I made new friends. I rekindled old relationships, and it was really, really awesome, man. Like, you were in the military, you played professional sports, and I played sports too. And I think after high school or college or the military, we don't get that chance to really feel that camaraderie. So like we did, like I really felt like, wow, like even though we're separate, we're a team, and you start to bond. And by the
Yeah.
second to third day into this, we were a well-oiled machine. Like it was almost like a military operation, very, very well organized, and shit ton of equipment, and that we had to unpack and repack and set up and break down and on top of luggage and logistics. So it was a really, really awesome feeling, kind of like bonding through suffering, and again, you don't get that too often in life, on top of it being a great cause. So, a lot of fun times when we weren't cycling. So we would get done cycling on average, like 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, something like that. And then head out to the downtown, go to restaurants and things, and just really kind of bond and have some laughs. And it was good, man. What else? It taught me to know my limits, and stuff like that. I met a guy, some old man that was cycling up this mountain, and he had a Brooklyn on his shirt. I go, hey, dude, you from Brooklyn? He's like, these guys is like 60s, kind of pudgy. He's like, yeah, actually, I'm cycling from Brooklyn. This dude cycled from New York City, Brooklyn, to Quebec City. And I'm like, how many miles a day you doing? He's like, 120. I'm like, holy shit, this guy's doing more than all of us. And then I bumped into another person. I'm like, oh, you start to talk to the locals and stuff and other riders as they pass by. I'm like, hey, where are you cycling from? And the guy's like, oh, like this guy was cycling from Texas to Montreal. I'm like, whoa, like there's always somebody better. Somebody, just when you think you're hot shit, there's somebody that can outdo you. So anyways, but so yeah, dude. And then I was at the base of this mountain, right? And I thought I was by myself. So I rip out this burp. I'm like, just to hear the echo. I was like, oh, that's so cool. So I get to the top of the mountain. I see this construction worker, this woman. I go, excuse me, did you? I played dumb because I didn't want to be embarrassed. I'm like, did you hear someone burp down there? So she's like, yeah, I heard you burp. I'm like, oh. So, yeah, it was,
she's been around the block. She knows better.
They shut down parts of the highway for us, actually, believe it or not. Yeah, in Vermont, it was such an honor and so cool.
Yeah.
They would radio in ahead and be like, okay, shut down that part of the highway, because it was road construction for about 30 miles in Vermont. And they would, the construction workers were so friggin' gracious and awesome. They were shutting down parts of the highway for us. So, because they saw we were in a group, we're all wearing the same jersey, so it looked very professional. Yeah. So, and by the way, I don't want to brag, but I don't know if I told you, but so I designed the jerseys. There was a contest about 14 people, and they picked my design for the whole team. So
not the mac and cheese one, right?
No, right? So, but they picked my design, which is it was definitely a true honor on top of everything else. So I kind of felt like, it was really nice. And and I got to cycle with one of my oldest friends. We grew up together. We were cycling since we were 10 years old, and he's the pastor of my church. And I was like, wow. I was like, Pete, how just amazing is this? We were cycling since we were 10 years old, and now we're 50. And it was just an honor, and really, really special. And other than that, dude, so that's kind of that.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah, go ahead, bud.
And I an idea. I think that you should take that bike jersey, have the whole group sign it, and then frame it.
That's funny. Unfortunately, good idea, bro. And funny. Unfortunately, two of the guys don't live. One lives in the Midwest now, and the other guy lives in Boston. I guess I can mail it to them and say sign it.
You should, because those things, like, it's such a being able to have that, like, as a memory of the actual experience. Have it like in the office or in your house.
Yeah.
You there is something to be proud of, like that you said, like, you remember that time when ... and you can watch it, because I think experience like this there's so many layers to it. Like you said, camaraderie, experiencing, pushing yourself, seeing the countryside from a bicycle instead of airplane, train,
Yeah.
car, whatever it is. You're actually biking. And then, I mean, I'm not going to go crazy, but like, could you imagine doing kind of the same, like riding west, when people like explore the west,
Oh,
like going from the east coast to the west, and like the uncertainty, people come from Europe and things like that.
yeah.
So it's kind of like looking, or from like a historical perspective, it's kind of cool to do things like this, and experience. It's almost like a different time that you do, because you do not have the bike. And of course we have nice bikes and things like that, but you're still seeing the country from a different perspective.
No, you're right. And you know what's funny? A lot of my stress went away during that 5 days because I was so focused and so kind of disconnected really from everything.
Yeah.
And when I came home, it was nice to be home, but like all my stressors came back. I mean,
Yeah.
and most of my stress is like a lot of people's stress. It's not life and death. And I was just like, man, there's something to be said about getting out in nature, connecting with friends. And it reminded me again of how important those things are.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, man, no, it was great. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad it's over. Like I said, it was not, it was difficult for more than just the physical reasons. But again, like I said, being alone, being in some sketchy areas, and on the sides of major thoroughfares where 18-wheelers are passing you by inches, stuff like, and again, we agreed to do that. Nobody forced me, but yeah, and also that's what made it special too. That's what made
Yeah.
that bond between me and the other men and women, and it was a great cause. And we raised I think $40,000 for
That's amazing.
for the poor women in South Africa to help get them out of poverty by starting their own businesses and education. And yeah, it was great, dude. And you know, yeah, man. So that's kind of that in a nutshell, folks. It was nice to see a lot of just people wishing me well and things like that. And it's a bucket list thing, right? I mean, it's someone that's you don't always hear people do that. So yeah, that's my church. Organized that, and like I said, we had a very diverse group of people: Indian people, Korean people, Irish people. Me, I'm Italian. Men and women. It was really it was special. So and that's basically that.
No, at the end of the day, it shows you that we're more alike than different.
Oh,
And like when we do things together, it's like even prove it more that we can get along even if we're different.
Oh, 100%, because not everybody in the group was Christian either, so that was nice that just again, different different
Yeah.
socioeconomic backgrounds like that. But yeah, dude, and seeing wildlife and just endless. There was a part where there were just like literally millions and millions of just different beautiful flowers, like through the not I guess like these roads are very country rural roads, and you just saw like flowers by the millions just
Yeah.
I felt like, whoa, am I in a dream right now? So, stuff like that, and
Cool.
yeah, so many polite people too. Like they would, hey, where are you boss from? Where are you going? Stuff like that. Oh, you're from Jersey, So yeah, everyone like just kind of applauding us and egging us on and all that stuff like that. So, but yeah, man, so that's it. We ate a lot of ice cream. It seems like there was an ice cream place every friggin' 2 miles. I'm like, another ice cream place. So, but yeah, man, that's. Have you ever been to Montreal?
I have not. I heard
Yeah.
it's a beautiful city.
Yeah, I mean, you're closer to the other Canadian city, probably up by Vancouver, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Montreal was amazing. It's like a clean New York City. Even the bums were polite. They're like, "Merci beaucoup. How may I please help you?" I'm like, "Oh, polite bums." So
Isn't I think that Montreal is or I know that they're using a lot of Canadian cities as like when they're recording movies like in for the US, because it's cheaper, it's
yeah,
easier and things like that. So yeah, no, it's but it's pretty, I mean, yeah, no, a lot of cool cities in Canada from what I've heard.
yeah. Canada was great, and for us in New Jersey, it's only about a 6-hour car ride.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So that was that, and I had some dogs try to attack me.
But of course.
Yeah, these two little dogs, kind of little, but they bust out of this guy's house. It was like a comedy, bro. They bust out of this guy's house, and they started to chase me, and I jumped off my bike, and I used my bike to separate me from them. And they were like border collie size, like medium sized dogs.
Yeah.
But they were trying to bite my ass, and they shut down traffic north and south on this road for like 15 minutes trying to get me. And every time the cars would try to pass, they blocked the cars, and then they try to get me. Then they blocked the cars, try to get me. And so I waited for the opportune moment when the owner came out, and he was like this 95-year-old blind man with a cigarette in his mouth on a walker. And he's like, "Hey, Mitzi, Soze, get inside the house. Get out. Where are you?" Meanwhile, the dogs are right by his legs, but he can't see. So I was just like, "Oh shit, dude, I don't need this right now." Because I don't know.
That sounds like National Lampoon, like one of those movies, like
Bro,
like Chevy Chase or.
I couldn't haul ass fast enough. So when I got an opportune moment, I get on the bike and I head down this hill, and I'm like, good, F these dogs, right? As I'm saying F these dogs, they're running after me down this hill. So I was like, oh shit. But I at that point, I'm almost doing 50 miles an hour down the hill. I'm like, there's no way they're going to be able to keep up that, so they stopped and eventually ran back up the hill. But kudos to the dogs for trying to at least make an effort to get me. So yeah, stuff like that, laughable stuff now. But at the time I was like, bro,
it's scary.
If I get
but makes a good story.
Yeah. So and my other friends in the tour also had some other stories like that with dogs, and a guy got stung by a hornet or a bee and his leg blew up. One of our guys.
Ouch.
Yeah. So yeah, his knee looked really bad, but he was able to remedy that. But yeah, little things like I guess another guy crashed his bike because he wasn't paying attention. But needless to say, he crashed his bike. Thank God he's okay. But yeah, man. So all good stuff, bro. And but thank you for asking and all that jazz. And so yeah, man.
Thanks for sharing. It's fun to hear about it.
Yeah, bro. So that was my trip from New Jersey to Montreal, Canada, folks. And
the last question that I have, and how did you guys get back?
Oh yeah, we didn't cycle back.
No, exactly.
Hell no. We got in the two support vehicles we had. They were very large vans.
Gotcha.
So we just got in the van, passenger van, and then we drove 6 hours back to Jersey. And yeah, that was kind of that, yeah. Yeah, I would never have cycled back. Hell no. Like I said, I'm glad I did it. It was a trip of a lifetime, and I won't be doing it again. So, but that's it, bro. All right, so everybody, thank you for listening to my whole thing. Thank you, Magnus. Thank you for everybody else. We got got more shows coming up, so check back in. I'm going to sign us off. All right, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye, guys.